Hello, Santa Cruz Police Department.
Malone speaking. I'm all finished now.
Hello?
He was 6'9", intelligent, articulate, a man who read crime novels, discussed philosophy, and once recorded audiobooks for the blind.
I'm an American, and I went off the deep end.
But behind his glasses and calm voice was a darkness that even seasoned detectives struggled to comprehend. His name, Edmund Kemper, and his story, in just about murder. It's about rage, rejection, and the slow, poisonous formation of a monster. Edmund was born in 1948 in Burbank, California, into a home filled with hostility. His parents fought often. His father, a World War II veteran, described working with nuclear weapons as less stressful than living with his wife, Clarnell. That woman, Kemper's mother, would become the defining figure of his psychological collapse. Clarnell Strandberg was cold, controlling, and cruel. She belittled Ed relentlessly, calling him worthless, claiming no woman would ever love him, and warning him he was destined to become like his father, a failure. She banished him to the basement to sleep alone in the cold, convinced he might harm his sisters. That fear, tragically, had merit. From a young age, Edmund displayed signs of deep psychological disturbance. At 10, he buried one of the family's cats alive. Later, he killed another, dismembered it, and kept its skull. He decapitated his sister's dolls and fantasized about murder. These weren't mere warning signs, they were red flags drenched in blood. At 15, his fantasies became reality. After an argument with his grandmother, while living on his paternal grandparents' farm, Kemper retrieved a rifle, shot her in the kitchen, and then killed his grandfather outside. Why? I just wanted to know what it felt like, he later said. Chillingly, diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic, he was sent to Atascadero State Hospital. But Edmund was no ordinary patient. With a genius-level IQ of 145, he manipulated the psychiatrists, mimicking sanity, and learning how to speak their language. He studied their reports. He volunteered to help administer tests to other inmates. He became so model that at age 21, they released him against all warnings. He moved back in with Clarnell, now working at the University of California, Santa Cruz, but nothing had changed. She mocked him for not being good enough. She told him not to talk to women because he would embarrass himself. She controlled his social life, his finances, and his self-worth. Every day was psychological warfare, and the war was nearing its end. Between 1972 and 1973, Kemper began offering rides to female college students, hitchhikers, trusting a polite man with glasses and a soft voice. He modified his car door so it couldn't be opened from the inside. Once they were isolated on back roads, near forests, or in the mountains, he revealed his true self. He'd pull over under the guise of needing directions or fixing a mechanical issue. Then he'd draw a weapon, often a gun or knife, and subdue his victims. Some were handcuffed, others tricked into kneeling. He stabbed them, strangled them, or smothered them. But that wasn't the end. His crimes escalated into what he later described with terrifying normalcy: decapitations, dismemberments, necrophilic acts, and trophy keeping. Each of his victims young, trusting women, were used not just for violence, but for control. A form of revenge against his mother, he admitted. He even said each killing helped him practice for what he truly wanted to do: kill Clarnell. He murdered Mary and Pess and Anita, Luchessa, first two 18-year-old students. Their bodies were never found. Next was Aiko Koo, a 15-year-old ballerina. Then Cindy Shaw, Rosalind Thorpe, Alice Liu. Each name, each life, reduced in his twisted mind to mere objects of dominance. He buried parts of Cindy in his mother's backyard, he claimed, because my mother always wanted people to look up to her. The tension between Edmund and Clarnell finally reached its peak in April 1973. One night, she mocked him again, telling him sarcastically he should go out and get a girl. That night, as she slept in her bed, he entered her room with a claw hammer. He struck her in the head, then cut her throat.
I decided I'm going to murder my mother. I knew a week before she died I was going to kill her. And she went out to a party, she got soused, she came home, went to sleep. I was woken up by that, came out, I walked up to her bed. She's laying there reading a paperback, as many thousands of nights before. And she said, "Oh, I suppose you're going to want to sit up all night and talk now." Shit. And I looked at her, I said, "No." I said, "Good night." And I knew I was going to kill her, you know? And it's so cold, it's so hard. And that's the first time in 10 years I've looked at it that way. I mean, that intensely, that honestly. It hurts. Because I'm not a lizard, I'm not from under a rock. I came out of her vagina. See? I came out of my mother. And in a rage, I went right back in. For 7 years, she said, I haven't had sex with a man because of you, my murderous son. That's one of our arguments. And I cut off her head, and I humiliated her corpse. I said, there, you know, a 6 young woman dead because of the way she raises her son and the way her son is raised. The way
He decapitated her, screamed at her severed head, put it on a shelf, and later told investigators he used her head as a dartboard and spoke to it for hours, expressing years of stored-up rage. Then, as if completing the final act, he called her best friend Sally Hallett, invited her over, and murdered her too. With both women dead, Kemper fled California and drove nonstop to Colorado. After days of hiding, he called the police from a phone booth
I'm all
and
finished now.
confessed. They thought it was a prank. He insisted, and then gave the most detailed confession in criminal history. At his trial, he described every act with unnerving calm. No tears, no shame, just facts. He waived his right to appeal, asked for the death penalty, and said, I should be tortured to death. Instead, he was sentenced to life imprisonment at California Medical Facility. Even behind bars, Kemper remains unnervingly articulate. He's granted interviews to psychiatrists and journalists, offering chilling insights into his mind. He once said, when I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out, talk to her, be real nice. The other part wonders what her head would look like on a stick. He is not a mystery. He is not misunderstood. He is not a victim. He is a case study in unchecked trauma, suppressed rage, and the catastrophic failure of a system that believed politeness equals rehabilitation. The story of Edmund Kemper isn't about intelligence, it's about evil. A darkness so quiet, it waits behind the steering wheel with a smile.